Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and I'm getting ready to do a tag that I have wanted to do for a while. Pat from Book Chat with Pat tagged me on this, and I love her so much for it because it's going to be a wonderful tag. And this one is called the Minor Christmas Tree Crisis Tag. And I've got some great books for it, and I'm going to get myself adjusted here in just a second. Sorry I'm moving around so much. Okay, let's get started. All right, so the first question is, pine needles on the floor when nature strikes back. So I've got a book here that is called The Solitary Horseman. And this is an Emilie Loring book, and you may never have heard of it, but it's wonderful. And the reason I chose it for When Nature Strikes Back is that it takes place on a peach plantation. And they have this big ice storm. And so they have to go out and light all these fires in order to try to save the trees. But in the meantime, our heroine is stranded on a bridge. It's like let's see if I can describe this to you. So she's in the car with the bad guy, and in Emilie Loring, they're not really bad guys. They're just kind of jerks. But she's in the car with the jerk, and they get to the bridge, and it's icy and everything like that. And the car goes like tilted on the bridge. It's like tilted on the bridge. It slides. And so it's up against the banister and everything. And so he crawls out and says that he's going to go get help and for her not to move because the car could slide at any moment into the icy river below. But he just leaves and he never goes and gets help. And it takes our hero waiting around for her to come down, because she was supposed to bring them ham sandwiches while they were battling the ice storm with the trees, and she never shows up. So he goes and looks for her and finds her in the car on the bridge, teetering precariously. And so that was my Pine Needles on the Floor When Nature Strikes Back. Solitary Horseman. Fantastic book. If you've never heard of Emilie Loring, you need to get reading her. She's wonderful. Let me get your copyright date on this. She's also one of my all-time favorite heroines. And this is Rose. She's one of my all-time favorite heroines. 1927. When Nature Strikes Back. Okay. Shards of Christmas tree balls to pick up. Shatters, falls apart, or gets stabbed. Well, I have a good one for that one too. And that one is Date with a Career. And in this one, her dreams of going to art school get shattered because she doesn't get in. And here's the authoress, the author back there, that's Jan, what's her name? Jan Nickerson. So it's about this girl who spends all of her time convinced that she's just kind of spending time in this little small town over the winter. But it's not really a big deal because she's going to go to New York and she's going to be in art school and she's going to be in costume design. She's going to be a fashion designer and everything like that. And of course, her world falls apart when she doesn't get in. Her world is shattered when she doesn't get in. So Date with a Career, it doesn't have the best jacket on it. Oh God, Twitch is in here. Hold on just a sec. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to dispose of Twitch. No, I just put her down in the laundry room. I'll get her out as soon as we're finished. Okay, so back to shattering this poor girl's dreams. So her dreams are shattered. But she comes to realize that the podunk little town that she is living in actually has a lot of charm and a lot of good people. And she ends up being okay with the fact that she didn't get into art school. And she ends up taking another path. And it's good. She's still going to do her art. She just didn't get into the prestigious art school that she wanted to get into. Let me give you a copyright date on this one. Date with a Career, 1958. So that's a good one. Okay, what's next? Ornament catches the eye, minor character steals the show. I've got a great one for this one. And of course, you know I can't do a booktube tag without pointing out a couple of my all-time favorite books. And you've seen this book so many times, The Red Lamp. But the minor character in this one, this is one of my all-time favorite books ever. Mary Roberts Reinhardt, one of my all-time favorite authors ever. But this one, the minor character that steals the show is Jane. And Jane is the wife of the professor who's trying to investigate whether or not this place is actually haunted by Uncle Horace. And Jane is great in that, you know, she's sewing all the time. She's very quiet and everything like that. But she's the one that has the psychic abilities. And it shows up in the very first of the book when the graduates of this, like, they bring the alumni back from the certain class. And she's like, how many alumni do you see on the field? And he says, there's 9. She's like, no, there's 10. I see 10. And she does steal the show because she often is picking up on things that none of the other characters are picking up on because they're not sensitive the way she is. And she's a great minor character, and I love Jane. Jane will sew a fine line, is what they say in the book. I wish I had that line. But anyway, The Red Lamp, I have touted it, and I've touted it for I don't know how many years now. If you haven't read it by now, you need to read it. You're really missing out. It's a great, great story. Oh, copyright date. Merry Christmas. 1925. 1925. Okay, what's next? Lights Tangled and a Couple Out. A mystery, a tangled story with twists and turns. This one I went for a nonfiction, and I'm going to put it right up here. And this one is The Cases That Haunt Us. I loved this book. I'm totally obsessed with Lizzie Borden and with John Benet Ramsey. Not so much the Zodiac or anything like that, but the Zodiac was in there. But John Benet Ramsey, that mystery still astounds me. I know they're doing a new documentary on Netflix, which I haven't watched. I would like to watch it, but my oldest son, who I tend to watch Netflix with, he won't do true crime at all. He doesn't do true crime at all. So I have to find the time when I'm by myself to watch it. But anyway, the book was fantastic, and it was done by an FBI profiler. And he kind of went through all the clues and everything like that. And Lizzie Borden, and we delved deep into that story, and we delved deep into John Benet Ramsey. So that's my only nonfiction book. I'm not a big nonfiction reader, but give me some true crime, and I'm right there. Okay, what's next? Candle catches tree on fire. Fire burns the place down, or is important to the story. Okay. For that one, I don't have the physical copy because I returned it to the library, but it is The Once and Future Witches. And The Once and Future Witches I read a couple of years ago. And of course, there is the big witch burning scene towards the end. And it is important to the story. That scene is critically important to the story. I won't reveal why. But it was amazing. It was... I don't read a lot of modern books, but that one was really, really good. And again, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. I recommend all my books. Why would I, and that's stupid of me, because why would I be on the show here and be giving you books I don't recommend? Sometimes my reviews I don't recommend, but I digress. Anyway, In the Company of The Once and Future Witches was excellent, and the witch burning scene was really pivotal to the story. What's next? A sickly sweet story you can't resist, or that you dislike, a story with sweets and chocolate in it. Well, a sickly sweet story that I can't resist would be any Chery Ames. I love Chery Ames. She is one of my heroes, and I want to be like her. And yes, the stories are sickeningly sweet, but Chery has got grit and determination, and she's optimistic about everything, and she does not flail away from trouble. She is in there doing her best to be the best darn nurse she can. And there's always a happy ending. Usually they dance at the end. So any Chery Ames is going to account for that one. Okay, fallen angel, the fallen or flawed hero. Well, of course, we have my beloved Mr. Rochester from Jane Eyre. What a wonderful hero. What a wonderful, tragic, flawed, sexy hero. I mean, I just fell in love with him. I read this book, I think, originally in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade, and I was just taken away by Mr. Rochester. I'm still taken away by Mr. Rochester. I just love him. His predicament that he has gotten himself in, his attempt to get himself out of it, his cruelty as he finds his love through Jane. It's just amazing. So, Mr. Rochester. And then the perfect Christmas book, Nostalgia, Connection with Past and Present. Well, it's not really a Christmas book, but it has a Christmas section in it. This is The Wind in the Willows. And there is a part in here where they go back, it's in the winter time, and they go back to Mole's home. And it's just, let me see if I can get an illustration. That's what I'm doing. I'm flipping through to get an illustration. They go back to Mole's home during Christmas time. And it's all full of these little, I guess, Victorian Christmas traditions and everything. And Mole is so happy to be at home. This is not a really good illustration, but these are the little mice that are the choir, that the carolers, that they come by and sing to Mole and to Ratty. They were sing to Mole and Ratty. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Let me just read a part here. Plodding at random across the plow, they heard the sheep and had made for them. And now, leading from the sheep pen, they found a beaten track that made walking a lighter business, and responded, moreover, to their small, inquiring something, which all animals carry inside of them, saying unmistakably, yes, quite right, this leads home. And so he goes home at Christmas. And he goes home, and he hasn't been there for a while because he's been living with Ratty, and it's just full of wonderful traditions, and it's just beautiful. And I try to read that. I read A Christmas Carol every year because, you know, I'm all into that. But I also read that section of The Wind of the Willows every year. So, all right, was I speaking too quickly? I have to go to Oklahoma City today for a conference, and so I wanted to make sure I got this in time before I hit the road, before I hit the highway. Anyway, I loved this tag. Thank you, Pat, for tagging me. I think everybody has done it. If everybody has not done it, then consider yourself tagged. I will get these, hopefully I will get these questions in my description box. See, I'm slowing down, trying not to rush. Hopefully I will get these in my description box. And everybody have a joyous season. I will see you on Poetry Thursday. I had a great time. Like I said, I hope I wasn't too rushed. Big conference today. Need to get my head on straight, but I wanted to get this tag in. Anyway, I will check you later.